What's up, Conroe? Welcome to a brand new edition of Nerd Thug Sports, right here on 104.5, 106.1, the sister stations, and we're streaming worldwide at irlonestar.com. As always, you can check out facebook.com/Nerd Thug Sport, or Nerd Thug Radio. There's no Nerd Thug Sports. We should probably do that one day. Anyway, go to Nerd Thug Radio. That's the mothership. It's where all the magic happens. And in the meantime, you can hang out with us right here on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 3 p.m. on just about every podcasting app available. Me and little brother Nico. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well. We're still alive. We're still kicking.
We are, of course, doing this via Anchor during the Corona quarantine. Probably just going to do this forever, though. It's been pretty convenient, I'm starting to think.
Yeah, I might steal podcasting equipment from you to work on other stuff.
I'll charge you a reasonable fee.
Well, considering that it's our money that bought it, I'm going to invoke communism here. Our equipment.
Listen, we live in a capitalist society. It can trickle down to you.
See, but if you take percentage of time worked, I think I'm still ahead of you.
I don't know. You got to factor in handsome radio voice.
You got to factor in people like me.
No, absolutely not. Just because of that, I'm going to burn the equipment, man. Just going to burn it in a bonfire. No one will get it now. Like you.
Look, you can't say it's not true. It's the one thing you can't deny.
A couple people have felt favorable towards you.
Correct. Including people I literally never spoke to directly.
I hate you. I hate you. All right. How I feel about you is probably how Rob Manfred feels about his job as Major League Baseball commissioner. How about that?
Oh, man. They are, falling apart at the seams, dude.
But don't worry. He says protocols they have in place are working, even though both the Miami Marlins and the Cardinals have both had to shut stuff down.
You know, it's always a great sign when two of your however many teams baseball has, because it's probably way too many, but I don't remember any of them.
I think it's 30 for baseball. So 1/15 of the league is infected.
Literally down.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah. But he is calling for vigilance from all parties. And he's going to institute some new measures in the coming days, even though everything's working.
Yeah, I don't know. That seems very much what we like to call in the business a lip service.
Ooh, it does feel like lip service. You're right. So I'm reading through his quote. By the way, 20 Cardinals have been diagnosed. 20 Marlins and then 12 Cardinals, I think, is the numbers.
Yeah, insane. That's crazy.
Yeah. And originally with the Cardinals, it was people on staff, not players. And then a day or two later, it was players.
Yeah, because, they interact with each other. Weird.
Right. This was all... Okay, here's the important quote here. We believe in the two serious outbreaks that we can identify deviations from the protocols that resulted in the situations that we had. The key is vigilance. It's vigilance on the part of the commissioner's office, club officials, players, and everyone involved in the game. Manfred said the league is taking steps to ensure safety of its players and even more while re-emphasizing and even tweaking its most important protocols. Masks. Teams will upgrade to surgical masks on planes. Previously, cloth masks were deemed usable, but some spread within the Marlins and or Cardinals is believed to have occurred on charter flights, according to sources. Planes, there will be an even more aggressive stance about managing social distancing on the private chartered flights. We have to make sure people stay in their seats.
It's like telling fourth graders not to destroy a room while you walk out. What is happening?
Well, athletes, the flights is one of those rare times when athletes can't do anything, including workout or rehab, and they tend to use that time to bond. There's famously the footage on The Last Dance of the Michael Jordan Bulls playing poker in the back of the plane. And they're all sitting around.
It's the downtime. It's travel,
right. And there's nothing else they can do. So this is when teams bond. So okay, are you ready? Eating. While eating and drinking still won't be banned on planes, it's strongly encouraged to do so in a timely and in staggered times.
No, it's not going to happen.
In the same row shouldn't both have their masks down.
Like, what do you want?
Outdoor space. We're going to reemphasize the significance of outdoor space. Everyone has built outdoor space adjacent to clubhouses. Bullpens. Another issue, bullpens aren't big by design. We need to be taking advantage of the opportunity presented by not having fans in the ballpark and spread those relief pitchers out. Sources indicate this is another area in which spread could have occurred within the Marlins or Cardinals.
Well, the thing is that all these players are going to be so close anyways. It really only takes one person to kind of hit everyone else.
Well, and here's where this is losers talk right here. Okay, this is how you know it's not going to work. Okay, Manfred said there was discussion about testing more often, perhaps every day. Here's his response to that. We have thought about it. The advice we're getting from our medical expert is that the additional benefit from testing every day is really, really small due to the incubation period.
Yeah, I don't think testing every day would probably
Oh, I disagree. I think testing every day would absolutely help. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. It's now saying this. The Marlins in particular were a good test case regarding incubation of the virus. There were players who tested negative for several days before testing positive again. It's why the commissioner believes the league has done the right thing with Miami and St. Louis by canceling games until several negative tests came back for the uninfected.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying because it'll take a while to appear positive, or there might be a false positive or false negative.
Yeah, but at least that point, the second you get a positive, you can pull that guy out to try and limit the spread.
Maybe, but I think at that point it's already too late.
You think so?
Yeah, I think because I think that's the whole problem with it, right?
It blows my mind that they're not testing every day. They're not keeping. It's not like the NBA where they're all in the bubble. The baseball players can go home.
Yeah, that's weird.
They should be testing every day.
How many games is this season supposed to be? Like 60?
Yeah, they're not going to make it.
No.
Week 1, the Marlins had the infection.
And then week 2 was the Cardinals. Yeah.
They're not
going to by this math, by week 30, there's no teams left.
Well, and I don't think the Marlins are even playing games yet. The other thing is they told every team to have a second roster, the quote-unquote taxi players, and because ideally what was supposed to happen is the Marlins were supposed to sit down the sick people and call up the taxi team. But then it was 20 Marlins, and they couldn't do that. And the Cardinals, it's 12. They technically could have, but...
There'd be 2 Cardinals.
Yeah. And that's not really fair. That's the thing about that. That's not fair to anybody.
Right. It's guess what, guys? You get to literally play a B team.
Right. We learned from both the Marlins and the Cardinals when you're aggressive about taking games down and getting through that period of time until you don't have one positive test, there's benefits long-term to keeping the season moving. We are encouraged by the fact that we've never had cross-contamination from one team to another. We're hoping that the trend continues. There's no way they're going to know that until...
Yeah.
I mean...
And also a point that I think should be brought up here is the fact that, if we're just striking, we should just strike out this year, because not only is this year shorter with only 60 games, there's now 2 teams that are basically out of it for minimum 2 to 3, maybe even 4 weeks.
Yeah, because you got to get I don't know, they haven't announced how they're bringing these guys back. When are the Marlins supposed to play again?
Right. Are they going to play again? Is this just going to be a season where the Marlins don't play? That's very much a possibility that people don't want to admit, because that number of infected players could go up.
Let's go to the schedule. Let's see. Okay, let's go teams. Let's do it by teams. Miami Marlins. Oh, they have a game scheduled for tomorrow at 6:35.
That's not happening. How many games are they supposed to schedule the next 2 weeks, at least?
Well, okay. No. So they're done postponing games. They're back. They've played a few. And now why do they postpone the Phillies games but not the Orioles games? What? This is weird.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I didn't realize this, but essentially, they've been back for a couple of days now. Yeah, they've returned to beat the O's Tuesday night. So 2 days ago.
Okay.
So they're back now. And the day before...
Should they be back is the question.
Well, so when they played Tuesday, it was with the modified roster.
Oh, okay.
So they brought in the taxi players.
All 20 of them.
At that point. Also, the rumor is that the Marlins got it because some of the players went to a gentleman's club.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't put it. It's professional sports. I wouldn't put it past anyone.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I do think it's what clubs are open though. Is my
I don't know.
That's to me. That's the weirder question. Like,
right? Who's open right now?
Yeah. Are the strippers just wearing face masks? Like,
that'd be pretty funny.
Maybe we're all into that. We're about to find out, I guess. The Cardinals have worked out. They are scheduled to play a game tomorrow night, 7:15 p.m. after having missed the last 10 days.
Ooh.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know that this is... I don't know. I don't see how it could possibly sustain like this. Like, what if at some point each team goes through this?
Well, I guess then just those weeks are just going to have to be either a modified roster or not happen at all. Like, unfortunately, there's really no other way to do it without starting over.
Well, yeah, and that's the other problem, right? Like, I don't know. It doesn't appear like there's a logical outcome to this other than eventually giving up. But maybe they're gonna just push through.
It wouldn't surprise me if that's what happens.
If they just push through, like,
yeah, and then they can be the example of look, we did it.
I don't know. Like, if I think if at one point there's 3 or 4 teams that all have it, I think they have to give up the ghost.
Do you think? I doubt it.
If they get to a point where 4 teams have it,
like at the same time,
yeah, where 4 teams are at different stages of dealing with it, even if they've never played each other, just 4 different teams are now postponing games. That's too many games.
Maybe, but I highly doubt it. I think they've walked themselves into this room and now they're not going to leave. They've kind of dug their heels in, considering the response that they gave with the Marlins and the Cardinals. I doubt, even if we had 4 separate teams all at different points, like,
you think they're just pot committed? They're in.
Well, I think they may have, despite never coming up with a good agreement for all the players, I think they're just like, we're just gonna do it this way, and you're gonna like it.
I mean, they might have. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's another way around it. I guess it just sort of weirds me out.
I mean, yeah, but that's this whole year in a nutshell. Like, nothing really makes sense. Everything's exploding. The universe is collapsing in on itself. Somehow sports, like, are still interesting but not happening yet. Well, except for basketball.
Right. Basketball, I think they've done a good job of how they've managed this.
Well, like, it seems way more decisive and cohesive, like, as a plot. Like, they were like, all right, so we need players to be quarantined. They're like, what's open? They're like, Disney World. Boom. Put them all there. We'll play just a few games to finish out the season. Championship, go. Like, and that's it. Like they're not having to fuss with they don't have to start their season. I think is really where it helps them. They just have to finish it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. We're going to jump out here for a break and come back. We got more Nerd Thug Sports coming your way. The Adventure Begins, Comics, Games, and More is open on 1488 at 525 Woodland Square Boulevard. With comics, games, and everything nerd-related, The Adventure Begins is the one-stop nerd shop. On Saturdays, they alternate between having Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, and coming up, they also have cosplay crafting and trivia nights and BYOB nights. They're currently offering a 10% discount for limited time, which will be valid for as long as you grab your books every month. Hey, Conroe, this is Corey DLG of Nerd Thug Radio, hanging out here, just enjoying my quarantine time at home, and I hope everyone else is doing the same, social distancing and minding their manners and listening to the orders while we get all this health crisis straightened out and get this pandemic under control. I hope everyone's doing their part to flatten the curve, but doing their part also means supporting small businesses. Local businesses here in Conroe, restaurants, things of that nature that have been able to stay open, they require the support of their community. So takeout is a good option to do. So reach out to those places, order some takeout food if you can afford it and if it's reasonable. I'm not asking anyone to risk their health, but the community has always relied on itself to support itself. And this is one of those times where, as Conroe, we can stand up together and take care of small businesses and entrepreneurs who've been taking care of us this whole time, helping Montgomery County grow into one of the fastest growing counties in all of America. Thank you very much, and stay safe, and stay tuned for more Nerd Thug Radio.
This is Rudy Tomjanovich, and welcome to Nerd Thug Radio.
Welcome back to Nerd Thug Sports, right here on 104.5, 106.1, the sister stations. And we're streaming worldwide at irlonestar.com. We've been talking about the Major League Baseball and their approach to the coronavirus, the quarantine.
Or lack thereof.
The lack thereof, actually. And we sort of pivoted right here at the end there to the NBA. So I kind of want to get into this a little bit. What the NBA is doing, first of all, that's different for those who don't know. The NBA invited 20 out of the 30 teams left, and they invited 20 of them to the Disney campus, and they drew a white line around the campus, and they told them, stay within these boundaries. And then they told everyone else outside of it, they can't go in or out. So I think even the staff, like for the hotels, are living on hotel I think right now, literally everyone inside the bubble is staying inside the bubble.
That's
including media and press.
That's kind of cool.
Right. So like guys are covering on site.
Sick would that be?
Like
literally and like just as a cool like job.
I don't know because
like I'm just talking about in concept being stuck. Like I can't wait for the HBO documentary or ESPN documentary called The Bubble in like 5 or 6 years.
Life.
Right. And it's like following like a reporter and like a player that like got really close or like hung out a bunch inside the bubble. And then I can't wait for like the shaky cell phone cam of them like running past the line just to mess with people. Like really stupid stuff, because that's genuinely what I would do.
Okay, I want to point this out before we get too far into it. So the 20 teams they invited back, they invited 9 from the East and 11 from the Western Conference. Top 8 from each is going into the playoff. The Washington Wizards were the invited team that's 9th in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Since the restart, they've now lost enough games that the Charlotte Hornets are ranked over them, and they weren't invited back.
Oh.
So the Wizards have now fallen below a team that's not even playing.
Oh.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Well, that's how not competitive the East is.
That is. I don't know. Maybe it's competitive because the team that didn't invite just advanced a place.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It doesn't even make sense. If you're the Charlotte Hornets, how did you not at least get invited back? I can't.
If I'm part of the Hornets, I'm upset I don't get to take place in the bubble.
Although if I played for the Hornets, I don't know that I would want to go to the bubble. Like right now, if you're a young 20-year-old millionaire athlete, you probably don't want to be in the bubble.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, what else is there to do? Throw parties in your giant mansion?
Yes. Yes. Instagram thoughts coming and going as I please.
I see.
Getting the corona over and over and over again.
Wash your hands at the door, please. Just install a small sink.
But this is probably why I was never gifted with the gifts of true athleticism, because like I wouldn't be able to handle it.
No, not at all.
I would have a 30 for 30 where it would be like the fall of Corey DLG.
It'd be like all the wrestling ones, but you were like in a regular sport.
Yes. They would have all these terrible stories about I would be the Dennis Rodman of this era of the NBA. Yeah, that's 100% what would happen.
It's a good look. I mean, it'd be interesting, and people would be like, "Man, he really was great," but really, what happened?
Yeah,
we'd still have. I'd imagine we still have the show.
Oh yeah, for sure. What would I care? I don't care. Like, my coach is benching me because I'm talking about stuff on the air. Like, I don't care. Whatever.
Exactly.
I'll probably even say stuff about the coach on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's weird is the NBA, there's a ton of active players in the NBA who podcast and who get on podcasts and go on podcasts and talk on podcasts. Kevin Durant literally told Brandon Roy last year that there was no way the Trailblazers were winning the West. Last year, he told him that. To his face on a podcast, laughed at him when he said it.
Cool.
Like Brandon Roy was like, "Yeah, we got a shot," and Kevin Durant was like, "You really think you have a shot?" And Brandon Roy was like, "Yeah, I think we got a shot," and he was like, "Really?"
Really?
He's like, "Bro, y'all got no shot." And Brandon, he didn't know what to make of that. Like, what? Not Brandon Roy. That's Damian Lillard. Brandon Roy is the old star of the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah. And so he's just sitting there like, "Oh, is that how you really feel?"
Damian Lillard literally had to just sit there and take it from Kevin Durant.
I mean, like, there's going to be somebody. There's going to be somebody.
But that's an awkward thing to have happen right there in real time.
I mean, yeah, but that's like, I mean, I feel like that's like my favorite part about live like recordings and like radio stuff. It's like the weird stories where someone gets like really confrontational. It's like no one's gonna say anything though because everything they're saying is like being broadcast or recorded, and it's like you kind of push the envelope where it's like, how far am I willing to take this before this erupts into a fist fight on air?
Because really, Damian Lillard should have said something. Because really, Damian Lillard should have been like, "Bro, we're gonna yeah, of course we're gonna win the West. What are you talking about?" But and he tried to be like, "Man, we got a squad. We can hoop." But like he was like, Kevin Durant was like, "No, you're not.
No.
You're not going to the finals. No."
I can thoroughly inform you. No.
That's brutal, man. That's brutal.
Bro, just put me on the mic with who's the quarterback for the Cowboys that I hate every time?
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
Are you saying you would tell Dak Prescott he's not a good quarterback?
Absolutely.
I'm going to get him to call in. I'm going to make that happen.
If I get into a call with Dak Prescott, I'm going to tell him to his face, "I don't think you're a very good quarterback."
I don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, yeah, and he'd probably beat me up for it, but I mean, it'd be worth it.
It would be great radio. I can't argue that. I can't argue that.
Dak Prescott, I think you're an entirely average quarterback, and I don't like you. And then that was the end of my career. He broke both my legs, and like I retired.
Forget that. That's our starting point.
Right? Yeah, because I sued Dak Prescott for millions of dollars. Oh, all his football money would be mine.
Yeah, just take a check for high six figures. You'll be okay.
Nah, I need more than that.
So, Dan Le Batard of the ESPN Variety.
Okay. I can't think of another Dan Le Batard, but all right.
He regularly, on his sports talk radio show, he regularly pokes fun at people and makes jokes and comments, and he doesn't back down from stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he caught a little bit of heat, and I don't know if they've said what they're gonna do yet to him. I don't think this is as big a deal as some people think it is. You tell me. Okay, so on the Orlando Magic, there is a player who didn't kneel during the anthem. The rest of everyone else on the court did. He did not.
Okay.
He also isn't wearing a Black Lives Matter custom jersey.
Okay.
He's apparently an ordained Christian minister in the off seasons.
Okay.
And his name is Isaiah, and he said that no, he wasn't going to kneel. He thinks that there are other things to do, and BLM isn't necessarily being anti-BLM doesn't necessarily mean you're anti-Black lives.
Right.
And so that was his take on it. Well, he blew his knee in a gruesome knee injury. I think the same game.
All right, that's cool. Good for him.
And Dan Le Batard wanted to know. Dan Le Batard throughout his show will post polls. Like if someone mentions something or says something controversial or funny or stupid, he'll post polls. So it's like they'll post polls all the times where they're like, "Does Stugatz know what he's talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the polls aren't meant to necessarily be taken too seriously. But he then posts a poll that says, "Is it funny that the guy who refused to kneel now blew his knee?"
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's funny, right? Like there's a humor to that. There's an irony to that.
Look, if I were me, and that happened to me, I would make the same joke.
So he caught some heat for that, though. People didn't appreciate that.
Okay. You laughed at a joke. I'm sorry for being funny.
Right.
What is this, the comedy police?
Well, he even said the comment he made was like, our show is lighthearted in nature. And he goes, I personally said I didn't think it was funny both times at the front and back of the segment. However,
I thought it was funny. That's pretty good.
He goes, however, we did go ahead and take the poll down when it became obvious that people felt like we missed the mark.
I don't know there, Chief. It's pretty good.
I think it's pretty funny, first of all.
Yeah.
I think once you apologize, there's no going backwards.
No, I think he should have stuck his ground.
Yeah, because once you apologize, you're stuck. Like you have to keep going backwards.
Yeah, it's the common like you've given too much ground now. They're just gonna run with it. Like,
yeah.
Oh, well, if you knelt to that, then we can do more. There's a limit to where that goes, and you really have to stand by jokes and stuff. I'm always a really big hater of people pulling up 10-year-old tweets and being
I don't think that a lot of that doesn't age well. I think that there's context involved. It's like the movie thing with the Disney movie where they ride the Thunder Mountain water slide thing is the Disney movie where not Thunder Mountain, Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain. But what's the name of the movie that it's from?
Oh, I don't remember.
The Bear in the Briar Patch or something like that. Anyway, it's super racist.
Yeah, it's a racist film.
It's super, super racist. And Disney, initially they had it on the Disney Plus, and they put like a little screen in front of it where it was basically like, hey, look, this movie's pretty racist. We're putting it up here for historical purposes. Like, don't think we feel this way now, kind of a deal. Uh-huh. And then after they still called more heat, they went ahead and just, okay, never mind, we're taking it down. Forget it.
Right.
Song of the South.
There you go.
That's what it is. I think it's
funny because that ride exists and that movie's so buried.
Right. And the ride has existed forever. But, like, I don't know. They couldn't come up with any other story in the mountain to tell. Like, it's kind of odd that they stuck
I just think it's because it's a classic ride at this point. It's been there for decades.
Yeah, keep the ride. Fine, keep the ride. But re-theme it.
No, I'm saying like I think it would just be so. I don't know if it'd even be worth it to retheme it, or if they can, depending on what like how the ride was built. I don't know enough about theme park stuff to be like.
I mean, I feel like you can tell a
Obviously.
different story for why they go down the side of a mountain.
Maybe, but I mean, like the ride was always kind of like cute. Like the ride doesn't. You don't get any like the super racist bits in the movie.
True, that's true. They sanitized for the ride.
Yeah.
But I do think in general things don't age well, and so
No, but also you have to like. You also have to realize not everything is super serious all the time, and I think that's a really big problem with a lot of people nowadays. Everything's so like. Everyone's so tuned in and so like high strung. Like anyone says anything, even if it's a joke, people are like, "Oh, you're racist," or "You're this," or "You're that." When like it's like, well, clearly it was a joke. Like we weren't saying this legitimately.
right. Yeah,
Like,
and that was a conversation I got trapped in one time where somebody was quoting a movie that was like 7 or 8 years old, and I was like, "Yeah, that movie's not recent though." Like,
it's not recent. The times were different, and it's a joke.
right. And then the very next day, like my point was like, sometimes things just don't age well, and you just got to kind of move on and let it go.
Right.
And then the very next day, there was a headline where it was like, "Friends is super racist," and I was like, "This is my point."
Yeah, like it was a different time. It
just
was
wasn't,
literally the 90s. And it was
right.
also a sitcom.
And it just wasn't perceived as important at the time.
Right. And like it becomes like a really big issue with like even statements people make, and like sometimes you just say the wrong things, and the thing that really annoys me is that like you can say something and then realize it's bad, a day later, a little bit later, people inform you of something you didn't know about, and now it like you feel really bad about it. Like it's like people don't understand that happens.
Right.
Like especially with like the old tweet stuff, like the amount of growth a person can have in like a year is immense. And throwing something in their face.
Some, Nico. Not according to some.
You know what else they can't do? They can't take jokes. Comedy is the one sacred thing to me.
Comedy is hard. Like I've always told you that. I've always said comedy is really hard. People always comment on how funny I am, and there are a lot of times that I'm not sure if I can say the certain joke or a certain thing, and I really have to weigh it before I say it. I was having a conversation today, and I was going to ask a question that maybe wasn't super appropriate of the people I was talking to. And before I asked it, I was like, "Hey, we're not recording yet, are we?" Because sometimes you just want to be able to have those statements and those conversations between people before you decide to be a public person.
Right. And I think the difficulty is it all comes down to just how much people are willing to give and take with
with the dialogue.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And it's a joke.
We're the grown-ups here. That's a little weird.
Yeah.
When we come back, we got another 15 minutes of sports coming your way. This is Nerd Thug Sports. The Adventure Begins, Comics, Games, and More is open on 1488 at 525 Woodland Square Boulevard. With comics, games, and everything nerd-related, The Adventure Begins is the one-stop nerd shop. On Saturdays, they alternate between having Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, and coming up, they also have cosplay crafting and trivia nights and BYOB nights. They're currently offering a 10% discount for limited time, which will be valid for as long as you grab your books every month. Hey, Conroe, this is Corey DLG of Nerd Thug Radio, hanging out here, just enjoying my quarantine time at home, and I hope everyone else is doing the same, social distancing and minding their manners and listening to the orders while we get all this health crisis straightened out and get this pandemic under control. I hope everyone's doing their part to flatten the curve, but doing their part also means supporting small businesses. Local businesses here in Conroe, restaurants, things of that nature that have been able to stay open, they require the support of their community. So takeout is a good option to do. So reach out to those places, order some takeout food if you can afford it and if it's reasonable. I'm not asking anyone to risk their health, but the community has always relied on itself to support itself. And this is one of those times where, as Conroe, we can stand up together and take care of small businesses and entrepreneurs who've been taking care of us this whole time, helping Montgomery County grow into one of the fastest growing counties in all of America. Thank you very much, and stay safe, and stay tuned for more Nerd Thug Radio.
Hi, this is Kevin Smith, former Dallas Cowboy, Texas A&M Aggie as well, and I want to say what's up to Nerd Thug Radio.
What's up, Conroe? Welcome back to some more Nerd Thug Sports right here on 104.5, 106.1, the sister stations, and we're streaming worldwide at IreLoneStar.com. Before we go any further, Nico, you want to go ahead and remind our friends about our best friend, The Adventure Begins, comics, games, and more.
The Adventure Begins, comics, games, and more is open. They are at full operating hours, so if you want to head on like you normally did, you can head on back into the store, although you are required to wear a mask as per the governor's orders. If you don't want to do that, they still do have curbside and delivery services available if you want to be extra cautious. But if you want to come on in, they even have table space available. Free comic book summer is still going on. You can get up your free comic books along with your little stamps that let you turn that in at the end of I think it's 9 weeks. It's up till September 9th. 9 weeks of free stuff, and you get loyalty points for those, which you can use for discounts or private rooms, all kinds of stuff there. You can pick up your books there, you can set up your box, they'll set comics aside for you. The Adventure Begins, comics, games, and more. Fantastic staff, wonderful people, awesome stuff. Head on down.
Boom.
Yeah.
Well done, well done. So 2 things I want to try and get in here.
Okay.
The first is The Rock has put together a group of buyers, and he has bought the XFL for $15 million.
Isn't that like nothing?
It's not a lot of money. It's a pretty good deal for sure. I think that's a third of what Oliver Luck is owed.
Ooh, yeah.
I
did see that headline, but I didn't look much into it. Although, if there's someone who I think fits perfectly with the XFL, it was The Rock.
Okay, so think about this. Think about The Rock's trajectory here. A lot of former athletes buy teams or buy into teams or are part of groups that buy teams. Alex Rodriguez Derek Jeter is part owner of the Miami Marlins. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, The Rock just stepped that the F up, didn't he? He bought a league.
You bought a whole league, and not even okay. So we're talking about The Rock here. He gets paid several $1 million every time he does a movie, and he does like 1,000 movies.
Yeah, he gets I'm assuming between $20 and $30 million every film, and he does a good 3 to 5 films a year. So This guy can afford the $15 million flat himself. But here's what's interesting: is he brought in? It looks like a 4-person group that he's kind of leading. It's him directly. Mm-hmm. It's his wife, his former ex-wife, who's his business partner, mm-hmm. and then it's also his investment group that he fronts. Right. So I think personally, I don't have this confirmed anywhere. To me, it sounds like the way he has structured his life. My buddies and I, we always talk about coming up together. So like, when one of us gets into a business venture, we talk about ways to try and include everybody and stuff like that. Mm. Sounds like The Rock's friends and inner circle are probably in that investor group.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
So, like, the guy who's known The Rock since he was 9 and has, like, supported him his whole career and, like, is The Rock's driver on movie sets, that guy has probably got, like, 3% of the league.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
And so it sounds like what's going on here is The Rock and this group has put together the $15 million together, which really all he's doing is limiting his liability, right?
Right.
That really means from his end of it, it's about $4 million. $4 $4.5 million, somewhere in that range that he's realistically out. That's nothing to him. This is a great deal for him.
Right. And the thing that's great about this is that, so the XFL, unlike was it AFL, AFL? I don't know.
Two A's, AAFL.
The AAFL. I'm just going to call it the AFL because it's short.
That's fine.
Like, that league, like, disintegrated before the season started?
Correct. That league was doomed essentially from the start.
And this league, fortunately, not only was just started way better, like, people actually watched it. It's the only time I have ever been in a restaurant and someone asked to put the XFL on. So, like,
was that at one of our Overwatch things?
No, but it was like adjacent to that. I think I went in there like a Friday night. We were playing some games with the boys, and we went into the restaurant, and someone asked to turn it on. Like, I owed my friend a drink or something, and we were at the bar, and someone like walked up behind us to change the channel to the XFL, and I just thought it was hilarious.
That's funny. That is funny. The XFL is a product ready to go. It's ready for a TV deal. Now,
right.
I don't think it's soon.
Right.
But I do think it had free TV deals. I think within 4 to 5 years, this thing's going to be making $20 to $25 million a year. I think for $15 million, this is a brilliant investment.
Oh yeah, and a lot of the infrastructure and the legwork was already put in to build it, because it's not like he's doing this like it's starting.
And a lot of the teams already have scouting and already know what's going on. Like, it won't be now. It will cost cash to get this going again.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I think that's probably the reason. It's probably the reason it costs so little up front is the fact that they're like, you're probably going to spend another
$30 to $60 million getting it running.
So The Rock has to make 1.5 movies.
Yeah, The Rock has to work next year. That's what this means. But I don't think there's any real danger to that for him. Also,
his career's not ending anytime soon.
Exactly. Also, over the next couple of years, this league will start. The free television deal will probably go a year or two, but after that, they're going to start getting paid for their TV. There's going to be money starting to come in. People love live sports. And once they understand that this league's not going away, this league needs to go 2 years without failing. Mm-hmm. After that, I do think there's going to be TV deals in place.
Right. I think this thing will easily make, probably nowhere close to the NFL. Not even kind of.
No. But I think it's not unreasonable to say they could sign a $100 million TV deal for like 10 years or something like that.
Yeah, no. This is definitely like a really good thing, especially because it's going to take money to start and it's going to be difficult, but I mean, it's live sports. People love it, and it feels really local. The teams have their favorites, and
it's got everything needed to grow as a league.
Right, it's got some charm to it.
Yes, but I think it's a great fit.
Yeah, plus The Rock is really cool to have attached, and also this is like the second wrestling person to also be involved, which is really funny to me.
It's just further proof that. Oh, also, by the way, I read another article where Vince McMahon publicly addressed the idea of him buying it out of bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. He was thinking about it.
Oh yeah, well we all do that.
But remember when I talked about it, like, it wasn't confirmed or anything. No, it turns out he was considering doing that.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me one bit.
He's the worst.
He is. He's consistent
to be the wormiest person ever.
Right. Super loaded though.
That's true.
I guess being super rich and being nice aren't really the most cohesive two traits.
It's sad, but you're probably right. You got to be one or the other.
Not saying that rich people can't be nice, but I'm saying most aren't.
You can't be nice while you're getting rich is probably the more accurate.
Probably.
So it's almost 3 p.m. on Thursday, which means we're a few more minutes away from officially knowing who is opting out of the NFL season this year.
All right. I forgot this was happening.
The cutoff is today at 4 p.m. Eastern. So by 3 p.m. today, we'll know everyone who's opting out. There's been about 7 Patriots players who've opted out, and people are speculating that is Bill Belichick's hand on the chessboard. With Tom Brady gone this year, and the way they've structured their team, a lot of people are saying they wouldn't mind having a bad season, but still maintaining the people they have.
This might be the biggest brain move I've ever seen in my life.
Now I need to try. I'm trying to find the rules for the what happens football year wise on your contracts.
Is this 5D chess? Is he like telling his good players to opt out so that they can buy them back or do whatever they have to do next year so they can lose and then get the good draft picks at the early stages of the draft? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility for sure.
This man is out here playing 7D chess and we're out here playing with rocks. Like, what is this?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And that's part of the problem is people aren't sure that he's not doing this.
The fact that no one knows drives my point home even farther. We don't even know what he's doing, but he's on some stuff.
Yeah, and these are starters. These are quality players that are opting out.
Wild.
Well, the starting guard for the Chiefs opted out, which was a bit of a surprise.
Oh, that was weird.
But he cited, I think they have a young kid. And he was like, not interested. I'm trying to find what the rule is. Oh, also the opt-outs helped. Let's see.
Does it help the teams that are bankrupt?
It gives them cap room because they don't have to pay that. It doesn't count towards the salary cap.
Sick. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
There's probably so many loopholes and things that you can do. That's insane.
Okay, I'm trying to find right now. Let's see. Eight teammates, including starting linebacker Dunta Hightower, starting safety Patrick Chung, starting right tackle Marcus Cannon, and core special teamer Brandon Bolden, all have opted out.
Cool.
For the Patriots.
Just going to opt out their whole team and then just have a bunch of rookies just throw this year and then just build the swaggest team you've ever seen in your life.
It's a real possibility.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's definitely going to happen like that.
Yeah, so I believe the way it's structured. Yeah, so if you had time on your contract, it moves up to the next year.
Oh, so it literally doesn't really affect them at all.
Right. And the players who decide to stay home, I think they get $250,000 if the year happens this year.
See, that's a play. Major League Baseball literally making the players give their money back.
Right. Okay, so here it goes. Those deemed to be at high risk for the coronavirus receive $350,000 in an accrued NFL season if they opt out. Players who aren't deemed to be at risk but don't feel comfortable playing can receive $150,000 if they opt out.
Okay, so less than we thought.
Yeah, but still, $150,000 to be safe at home.
It's literally $150,000 to do nothing.
It is. It is.
I mean, maybe that's nothing compared to your salary of millions of dollars, but I mean, if you're not there, like, it would be really easy for like a rookie to be like, I'm good.
Now this is interesting. New England Patriots starting offensive tackle Marcus Cannon, he plans to opt out, and he's set to receive the $350,000 amount because he's a cancer survivor.
I mean, yeah, he had cancer. That's true. He is higher risk.
He had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma shortly before he was drafted.
Oh, that's pretty serious.
It was, and he said he has played his whole career since then, healthy.
That's good. Good for him. So I mean, like, that's an actual plan. Still no, like, we don't really have a schedule, do we? We have like a kind of one.
Oh, like dates wise for the NFL?
Yeah.
They need the opt outs to happen first.
Yeah, I figured.
I think there's no build up for
the season anymore. It's just
all the
practice camps and the season.
So, like, the New England Patriots play their first game Sunday, September 13th at noon.
September feels so far, but it's really not.
It's really not. It's 1 month away. Yeah, I think they have the next 35-ish days, and they're going to go 2 weeks. I think they're going to go 1 week no contact, 2 weeks contact, 1 week off, and then football.
All right.
And I think that's kind of the plan.
We'll see how that goes.
But they would just be having their first preseason game next week.
But they've decided against that.
Yeah, the preseason is now officially canceled.
All right, good to see that they finally have made decisions.
Yeah, they've slowly put their stuff together. Although the NFL wanted to move the opt-out date up after players started opting out, so the NFL was like, "Whoa, you guys are staying home? Okay, we didn't mean that." And speaking of staying home, we're going to jump out here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thanks for having a great day. On behalf of little brother Nico and myself, same Nerd Thug time, same Nerd Thug channel. As always, be good and be kind to each other. Wash your hands. Stay safe. Take care. Be clean. Be happy. Be healthy. Fight the power. And Black Lives Matter. Thank you, guys.